doom scrolling and listening to the rain.
So I don't know, I'm sure you did get a copy. Everybody got a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. And just so you know, Mike, I'm Hillary Carlson and I'm currently the president of the board. And are there any questions or comments about the minutes?
Nope, I move that they be agreed to.
So if nothing,
Second.
then do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I
From-
move, so move.
Okay,
I'll
second,
second it. I'll second it.
all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
okay. All right.
I abstain. I
You
abstain. Yes.
Oh, right, and Mike and Lindsay.
I feel like I should
abstained.
abstain too, because I
Yeah,
wasn't
'cause they
there
weren't
as well.
here for the meeting. All right, so, but we have enough people to approve it? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I just want to say, I feel like you guys had a really productive meeting when I wasn't there. Makes me wonder if it's me. You guys got a lot done.
There was a lot of discussion, that's for sure. So, any correspondence?
No, nothing directed to the board or that
Okay.
not usual business.
President's report, I defer to the agenda.
Sure.
And then we'll move to the director's report.
So that would have been emailed out. And
Got it right
you
here.
know, the big items are Peacedale opening to the public on the 22nd and also the branches on October 5th. It's been busy at Peacedale and the branches are starting to see some traffic. I'm glad the branches are along now, but it is just that much more to make sure is, you know, going smoothly and safety and all that. So, but it's going good. We're very busy. I was gonna screen share, but I'm a little afraid of Zoom tonight. I don't know. So, let me try.
Laurel, I have a question for you about the opening, which is under what conditions would the opening be scaled back?
Well, I guess what it would be is basically staffing. So if, you know, we have any positive tests, that's going to put somebody out of commission for 10 days, you know, that or more. And even not, actually, even kind of more intense than that is that if somebody has symptoms, they're supposed to isolate for 10 days. And we have to go through the steps to make sure that, you know, everybody is safe. So that would be a scale back thing where if we don't have the staff to do a greeter desk, to have a, you know, a phone man, to have people to be able to check out and still run curbside and, you know, we're doing programming, we're doing so many things. So it's just a matter of manpower, I think, or person power. And that would be my first answer to that. First and foremost is bodies and, you know, boots on the ground and safety. So, and we have the supplies, we have the guidelines, and we're doing our best to follow them.
Okay. So it's internal factors rather than external factors. Like
I'm sorry?
it's internal factors like staffing rather than external
Yeah.
factors regarding like, you know, positivity in the South Kingstown area. Okay.
Exactly.
Anything else regarding the director's report?
Well, and I want to say our annual application for state aid was approved. So, you know, as far as we know, the money is there that they give libraries on an annual basis, as long as they're meeting their requirements. We did have to apply for a waiver, which I can only assume that almost every library that has reduced hours and is not meeting what the state requires would have to apply for the waiver. Our waiver was accepted. It basically just says, this is why we have reduced hours, and we go back to the staffing, the cleaning, the guidelines, and I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. And so the waiver was approved, but it is with a condition, and to see where we land, to be back up to our normal hours of operation by March. So obviously things can change, but that's what we're hoping, shooting, the goal is to do.
Laurel, is the funding contingent on approval of the state budget? I mean, they haven't even approved a state budget yet. So is it possible that things could change?
I would say, yeah, anything's possible. We were told, the consortium was told by the chief of library services that the money was there for libraries. You know, I'm not sure where it falls in a bigger picture than that, but for us, it's there. You know, we're talking among, and I'm kind of, don't quote me on the actual figure, but let's say 50 libraries, you know, $1 million or something like that. It's probably a very small drop in the bucket to the whole state library. And let's keep in mind that they want libraries to be active. They want them to be, because that's who's going to help the people that don't have the resources due to this whole crisis. So
What is the amount that the library gets from the state?
it's roughly, hold on. Oh, I have it right here. So this past year we got $225,105. This year they are at $231, $439. So roughly $231.
That's about 20%. What's the percentage of your budget for that?
We're at $1 million, and
So
so
23%, yeah.
yeah. Well, they're supposed to be up to 25 was the gold standard, and it dropped drastically. You know, back in the recession, and they've been slowly building their way up. So it is contingent. It's a formula. It's contingent upon what the town actually appropriates, and but we've been approved. Yay.
Good work.
It's a lot of paper, but at least it was all electronic. So Hillary, that DocuSign worked well, yes?
Yeah, very well. Yeah. Okay, so item number 5 is to welcome our new trustee, Michael Henry, which we did, but maybe just take a quick minute, go around. You probably saw everybody's name, but if we just introduce ourselves, and
That's a
so
great idea.
Mike knows who's who.
Yeah. So I'll start. I'm Laurel. I'm the library director. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And you were on, if I remember correctly, the planning board?
Close, the zoning board of review.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, and I'm Hillary Carlson, and I have been on the board, what, gosh, 2 years? No, has it been 2 years? Not a whole long time, but anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Donna Gilton, and this is my 4th year on the board.
Hello.
And Donna was a past president and also a professor at URI, or former professor.
Mike and I know each other. I've been on the board, I think 3 years, but who knows? Time is passing quickly and slowly these days.
Yeah. I'll say.
Right.
So I'm Mario Brissetti, and I think Donna and I have been on the board the longest, right? No, Liz, you had a longer time than we did.
Yeah, I came with Donna, I remember.
Is that right? So you two guys are a little longer than me.
So we call ourselves the twins because we have birthdays close together. Even though I'm already a
Same
twin, so we're
age.
the triplets and we're the same age.
And I'm Liz Kroll. Right, I've been on the board like 3 years, and the reason I keep looking down is I'm taking minutes, Mike. I'm supposed to be, I'm the secretary.
Great. Thank you for doing
So
that.
I'm Lindsay Madom. I was appointed when Tim and Hillary were the same time, so somewhere between 2 years and 3 years, I suppose. I'm an MD actually, was trained in OBGYN, and I did OBGYN for almost 15 years. And then when I moved to Rhode Island here, took a break and haven't really gotten back to it. I'm mom of 4 between the ages of 7 and 13, and just an avid book and library lover. So.
Hello.
Elizabeth?
And I'm Elizabeth McNab, and I am not on the board. I am president of the Friends of the Kingston Library. So I'm just sort of all around everywhere.
Great. Hi, everyone. I should probably just say a few words to introduce myself. I've been living in South Kingstown for 7.5 years now. My wife is from Kingstown. She was born at South County Hospital and lived on Robinson Street growing up. And she and I met in Texas. We lived for about 15 years in Washington, D.C. And as soon as we could figure out a way to find at least one income in Rhode Island that could support a small family, we arrived here, and that was 7.5 years ago. We currently live on South Road, about a third of a mile south of 138 in URI. And there's one other thing that I want to tell you. Oh yeah, when I am not telecommuting, which I've been doing since, gosh, exactly 7 months now, which is pretty amazing. It was March 13th that we were given the direction to go home and to wait for the orders. I commute most days to Boston via I did it first via MBTA and most recently via Amtrak. We have lots of time to read books, listen to audiobooks, and other things.
Have you been back to Boston on Amtrak? Because my wife did that all the time too, but hasn't done it for 7 months.
Nope, I have not once.
Okay.
And like
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I owe you a binder. Every new trustee gets like a binder with various stuff. So I'm gonna put that together.
Okay, yeah, just let me know when and where I can get it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Laurel.
Absolutely.
Laurel, you discussed a state aid application and waiver approval. Is there anything further that you want to add?
No. Well, I will say Canopy is going strong. That is our new movie streaming service. So, we talked about beefing up our electronic collection, and that's a good addition. So check it out. You can get right to it from our homepage. And we're trying to roll out mobile printing, where you could be at home. It finds our printer in the library. You click on print, and then you could come pick it up at the library. We're having some technical difficulties with that too. We will get that.
I see your sign. It's on the sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wondered how that was going.
Yeah. Well, it's not as smooth as I had hoped, but
Or what is it? 15 cents a copy to print? How does that work?
It's black and white is 15 and color is 50 cents. So
you have to pay for it before you could print it.
You're right. It works through either your credit card or PayPal. It's great for us because we're really trying not to handle money. We're not, we're trying to make things as contactless and convenient as possible. Even at the library, I'm sure you all have probably seen it, the desktop printers print to something where they put money in. It's a coin operated machine. So if people need to print at the library, they could certainly do it, but we're trying to make it a little easier.
Laurel, I have a question about, in your report, you said that our libraries need to be fully open. The goal is by March. So that's obviously March next year. is that all the libraries in the state of Rhode Island, or they have different based on whatever?
They have different based on whatever. So when libraries were applying for their way, well, I'll just speak to what we did and what everybody else is doing. I don't know what their specifics are, but when we said, okay, we're open this many hours, and it's 47 right now for all the unique hours. So unique hours is a whole other thing where, you know, we could have all 3 branches open the same amount of hours, and those are your unique hours. You want to have different hours so patrons can come at different times. It may
Right.
a night, a Saturday, all that. So we're at 47 now among 3 branches, and we need to get up to 60 to meet what the state actually requires. So that would be back to having Peacedale or some form of those hours among the 3 branches being back open to normal, like what we used to be.
What you were before the.
We were right at the 60. We did,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm sure some libraries that can achieve over maybe. But the funny thing is that when you ask that, then you'll have a little library that they just might have different circumstances, and it's whatever the state approves. So they may say, we could do these many hours and we'll get up to our, you know, it goes by population. So your population is required to be open so many hours, and we're right in the middle at a little over 30,000, but then you have some that are 80,000 or some that are 5,000.
Right.
So it really is formulaic in that way. But what other libraries said, claimed, put in for their waivers, you know, I don't know.
No, I know. I was just curious. I mean, they're juggling a lot. It means, I mean, Providence versus South Kingstown is so different.
It is.
And then, you know, I was just curious to know about this March 2021 date, but that's just for South Kingstown, you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And it's fluid, you know, like that's what I think, because, you know, we need more people. We have some vacancies. I think we could fill that by then. Hopefully the situation's better by then. It's not as hard, you know, maybe there's so many different factors, but I felt March was reasonable. And, you know, so did the state, you know.
Hopefully get through the winter.
For our situation.
Okay, thank you.
Could be others that are different.
Okay. We'll go down to our favorite topic, the Weaver Centennial, our Weaver.
Okay,
So,
so
a restoration update?
yes, I do
It
have.
looks really good, though. I think when you drive by it, it looks great.
We, you know, did the facilities department did what we could do, the power washing and the cleaning of the bronze. And then the conservator was there this past Saturday. So I was waiting for an email from him, you know, just on an update, but I didn't get it by end of day. So it's going forward. It looks good.
So did you not need a place for him? Is this the guy that we were looking for a place to
Yeah,
stay?
this was the same, and that's what I'm waiting. I asked him, I said, I don't know what you're gonna do. I told him about Sugarloaf. I wasn't sure about the whole, you know, if he'd need a test or something beforehand. He was asking about Airbnbs, and I said, I don't know. We did I gave him a few suggestions for Holiday Inn or something close by, and he was going to explore it. So I don't know if he actually stayed the night. I know he was there Saturday.
Okay.
working
Right.
it.
Well, I'd like to let my friends know that it doesn't look as though we will require their hospitality at this time.
Okay.
So.
Hillary, he could have very well stayed there. That was the first thing I gave out to him.
What was
He just
his
wasn't-
name?
His
No,
name is
his-
Francis Miller.
Francis Miller?
Yeah, I did, try to encourage him to do that, but I think he was a little leery on if he was gonna have to have like a negative COVID test or what exactly their requirements were.
Right,
Because
okay.
he just wanted to please the rest of his head and be able to get up and start early in the morning. So I don't know if he did or not. That was one of my questions in an email I sent today, actually.
Okay, I just, I'll contact them. I just don't want to leave them hanging and wondering, she called us and then we never heard from her. So
Yeah,
I'll
no, I
follow up with that.
understand.
Okay,
I apologize for that.
no, that's fine. Programming updates.
Okay. Oh,
Yes?
oh,
Yep.
Hillary, before we go to programming update, I have one question to ask about the statue. Is there going to be any ceremony? And if so, do you have any idea when?
Well, from my standpoint, that's something we need to decide. And I, kind of separate from the other programming as far as the Black history and the stories and the panel. So we need to decide if, even if it's to try to make arrangements to get the plaque, we had talked about getting one of the informational plaques that you see around, like on the bike path or wherever, that gives a history of it, or if we're going to, in addition to what's on the website, or at least direct people to the website if they want to get information about it. So we still haven't made a definitive plan for that.
Okay.
Anybody?
If I could jump in for a second here. I think until the Weaver's restored, we really shouldn't do too much that is going to be right in front of it. I'm still of a mind that, like, I agree with you, Hillary. It's a little separate at this point because the programming needs much more attention than what we can dedicate to the Weaver in the middle of being restored right now. I know that, and Donna, you were at the meeting that we had with Jessica, our local history librarian, and Betty Cotter about putting a video maybe of the actual Weaver and discussing a little history about it. But I think when we start to talk about the programming of the whole history of South Kingstown and the whole, what we can contribute to that history, that's going to take a little longer and is kind of separate. So I think it should be up to the board to say, maybe we hold back on the Weaver, do as much as we can online and in the background, and then now we could focus more on that history and how we get that out in a executable way.
Okay, that sounds good.
But that's just my gut feeling. It's like the Weaver's not going anywhere. We're trying to beautify it and do right by it. So I think if we just continue to highlight it, because it is a wonderful little piece of the grounds and architecture, art, then maybe we'll be able to do something more formal at a future time. That now is not quite the time to be having a ceremony.
Right. Because I was thinking if there was, we would either have to do it very soon before it gets cold, or wait until spring comes, for one thing.
Right. I mean, on the other hand, and I don't want to sound wishy-washy, people are meeting outside. It is the more safer place to be. So if it was the board's will to say, let's just do a little something, we could certainly do that. But keep in mind that it takes time to coordinate, promote, and I just want to be able to do it justice to what it is. But I do think that the whole background history that we're talking about with the panelists thing and oral histories is a little separate and needs more focus and attention than trying to rush it just for an event.
I have some thoughts about it. I think there was one panel that I suggested, an academic panel, and I have 5 suggestions, 3 of whom are willing to come, and 2 I think will come if they know more.
Yeah.
And I think, and I need to meet with the subcommittee or whoever is working on that part of it to make sure that people approve and see if people have other suggestions and things like that. And I've written preliminary questions. And I think once we get that together, we could get in touch with the panelists, and we could go on either on, Zoom or on WebCT, and I could go ahead and do the interview. And then if it goes well, which hopefully it will, that can come up anytime. So I don't think that part is that complicated. The panels are more complicated, and I do want to have a chance to really talk about, I have some ideas about that. And I think with the statute going on and with the first panel, the way I feel about it, I can wait until maybe, this summer or later in the year to plan for the other things, especially if we need to write any grants for it. And we can, create these things next year. So I, and do it like either once a month or once every 3 months or so, depending upon how it goes. There's no reason why we have to do all that right now. But it can be like a gradual thing.
Centennial +1.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean,
Or
I
2.
like, yeah, right,
or
exactly.
+2.
I missed last week when you guys had all these discussions about all these additional subjects that related to the Weaver. I love the idea of all that you were talking about and really diving in with it. It would almost be like kind of great to do like dive in and do what Donna's talking about and have these speakers and panelists and all this stuff, and then like end with the ceremony. I don't know, over the course of a month.
Yeah.
Or just like,
That could
we're
work.
educating the public about all of these, issues and everything that was going on back in South Kingstown, and then end with the ceremony. So whether you do it over a month, over a week, I mean, a week that's a lot you're talking about, Donna. So a week may be too little time to get that all done, but maybe over a month, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. The first panel, hopefully, if we can, find a date where everybody can get together and we can plan ahead of time what questions we'll ask and things like that. I think that would be relatively easy to do. We can have a get acquainted meeting just to make sure that the technology is working and for people to meet each other. And then another one, in a few days with it's the real interview. And once that's done and it's recorded, we can just, that can just go up. So I think that's fairly straightforward. And then the other panels, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, so do you want to try to set a date tonight to do that, get acquainted?
That would be very nice, because that way, the 3 people I've approached who are interested, I can give them a definite date. And the other 2 people, we're still in negotiation. And there's a go-between, at least I can let her know, and that will give her more information.
Okay, so I guess it would just be the date.
Right.
As long as we should have enough Zoom licenses to be able to just pick any date that's good for everybody. So if you want to approach your panelists and find a date that works for everybody, you just let me know and I will get a meeting scheduled so we could just touch base, and then we could do, another meeting or do the actual interview after we know that we all got the same capabilities and, you know, work out any technical difficulties. So really, Donna, if you just want to pick a date that it works for everybody, we'll do the, bless you, sorry.
Are you talking about recording this? Is that what you're, are you? I'm-
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely
got it.
recording it. Yes.
Okay, so I see. Yes, excellent. I think that
Oh.
sounds great.
Okay, when is the earliest we should aim for, and what is like the latest? I would like to do this before the school year is over at the latest, but you know, what's the range of dates we can go for?
Well, we could do it much sooner. I'm not sure about what your panelists or availability is. So
Yeah, I mean, if
I
you're
we could-
recording it, then you could do it whenever.
right.
That's-
I mean,
that's
Because
what I'm
you're
saying.
talking about recording it and then presenting it to everybody as a recorded interview. Is that right? Is that what you're talking about doing?
That's what
Donna?
it sounds like.
Well, I was thinking about having a Zoom meeting like this that's recorded.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
And then
Yeah.
once it's recorded, it's there.
great. Okay, yeah.
So
you know.
not necessarily having, you know, everybody in the public realm to be able to come in, but just to get something recorded, and then we could
Right.
Present
post
it.
present it. have it.
You could post it, or you could present it with this,
I mean, we
group
could
of
do that
lectures you're
as-
talking about doing.
And
Yeah,
it can go on the library website at any time.
yeah, we could do that as soon as, I mean, I'm off the rest of this week, but we could even try next week to meet with everybody that you had in mind if they're available.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure what, I remember when we talked about this before, there was some people that weren't going to be available till after the holiday.
Right.
Not sure.
Yeah, one of the panelists, I knew he was going to be away in October, and he said he was available on Wednesday nights, but that was it. But it looked like he was more available afterwards. And another person I contacted, you know, she teaches some morning classes, but I think she's available otherwise. And I think the other person can be, you know, pretty flexible. And then the other two, you know, I'll have to see. Okay, so what I can do, I can line up some good times, good dates, and then, you know, see if I can come to an agreement, and then I can come back to you, Laurel, about that, and we can work from there.
Sounds perfect. Yep.
That sounds
I mean,
great, Donna.
And that Wednesday night sounds good, because during the day, the licenses for Zoom might be being used more for programming.
Oh, okay. So
but-
so Wednesday night is probably a better time.
But try to, you know, whatever is an agreement for everybody, whatever works the most for everybody.
Okay, and should I offer them other evenings too? Or stick mainly to Wednesday nights?
I would stick to Wednesday,
Okay,
Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, so what I'll do, I'm going to offer them a range of dates and see when their best times are.
Perfect.
Great.
And Laurel, what, I don't know if I missed this and you said it already, but what is the estimated time to finish the restoration?
Well, I
Got
think,
an update, but I might have missed if you said it.
no, because things are kind of being done in little
Pieces.
pieces. I don't know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay. No, just because if we're
in
thinking
the
about like
level.
finishing the restoration
Yeah, no, it
and then
was-
going forward with the, stuff
It was 2
to support it.
days. If like, I think he could work from start to finish. It was 2 days. So, you know, I didn't get an update from what he got accomplished on Saturday, but I assume he got pretty much a full day in, and there may be one more day. It's just a matter of, he needs to get it done, you know, before the weather turns
Yeah.
cold, because like he can't work on it in the cold. So and it's supposed to be nice. He might be there tomorrow.
Someone, I think it was Donna, mentioned the possible grant, so I could give it a little update on the Rhode Island Council on the Humanities and their grant program. A couple of weeks ago, I attended a virtual training or discussion on these mini grants that they have, which
Okay.
are $2,000 maximum. And they're available twice a year. And reading their criteria, whatever we decide to do seems to fit, very well into what they're looking for and what they might be willing to fund, whether it be informational plaques outside or whether it be supporting Donna, your videos or some combination of that. They're given out twice a year. The next deadline is in November. So I don't think it's realistic that we would try to meet that to write a grant application, because we don't really, know exactly what we're going to do or what we need. But I would suggest that we think seriously about doing it for the next round.
Okay.
It's, even though it's not a whole lot of money, $2,000 in the grand scheme of things, it's a fairly intensive process where you need to document what you're planning to do. You have to have some sort of criteria that measures results of what you did. You have to have some sort of contribution in addition to the grant, which could be just the salary of someone like Jessica, for example. If she were spending a day doing research, that could count as an in-kind contribution, or if there was perhaps money that the Friends of the Peacedale Library might want to contribute towards it. So it's, it's a bit of work to do that. But I think if we were to decide to go for the next round, we have time to do that, and we can talk about it and formulate our plans more. I think it would be really hard to try to do it for this November. I don't think we're ready.
Right.
And when is the next round? Is it next November, or is there like a?
No, it's twice a year. So it would be 6 months, I guess, from November, whenever that would be, probably in the spring, maybe in May or something like that. I don't remember the
So-
next day.
So this is the Rhode Island Council of the Humanities.
Yes, and
Okay.
they're called mini grants. So it's not as big of a deal as if you're applying for a huge grant, but there are a lot of criteria that you have to meet. But it could, I know that Jessica had done some research, for example, on having signs out, or a sign or something outside the next to the Weaver, explaining it, maybe pointing anybody that was curious to our website, where there's a lot of information about it. But even a fairly simple sign could be $800 or $1,000. So a grant like that could pay for that, one or two, or pay for other things as well.
So it would do physical things like
Yes.
signage and all that. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, or they would also pay for videography. So it's physical, or programs or films or documentaries. There's all kinds of things. There were probably 15 people on the call, including a couple of libraries
Nice.
from other parts of the state. There was no discussion on what people were doing. It was more an informational session from the council on what the grant process was about. And
So they
There's a-
didn't give any examples of past grants that were awarded?
yeah, they talked about, I think there were a lot of documentary type videos made by people in Providence neighborhood groups, documenting like what kids have done toward working towards racial justice, that sort of thing. And there's more. If you were curious, you could go to their website and see examples of what they've actually funded. But I think if we wanted to and put our minds to it, we could put together a pretty good proposal that would meet their criteria. And I would suspect we might have a good chance of getting a grant.
Thank you, Tim.
Mike, are you familiar with what we're talking about, the Weaver?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And Charles or Chester French. His name
Daniel.
or something?
Daniel.
Daniel Chester French. Yeah. Oh, it's pretty neat. I hadn't realized that this was like the only sculpture from this sculptor in Rhode Island until I saw the name and the discussion in the notes about the centennial and all.
It is pretty neat.
Anything else related to the programming and to the Weaver at this time? If not, we can go on to the replacement tree update.
Yes, so the tree has been ordered and I think they will be planning that tomorrow or
Oh, wow.
this week for sure. So yay. And I did speak with Mr. Condon. He was very interested in doing a bench. So once the tree gets in place, I will reach back out to him and see if he still is.
Laurel, I know
what tree was it, did we finally settle on?
tulip.
A tulip.
Laurel, just a suggestion, but you might get your staff together when it's planted and just have a photograph taken. For
Oh, that's a
posterity.
great idea.
I
Excellent.
couldn't hear you,
idea.
Mario. Can you repeat that?
Just suggesting that Laurel get her staff together and take a picture
Oh,
for
mhm.
posterity when the thing is planted.
And get the Narragansett Times to put it on the front or something.
For that matter, you and Hillary, Laurel and Hillary could get some shovels and take it. You know how the big dots when they open up a project. and cut a
Cheryl,
ribbon.
and Laurel's on vacation.
One more hat.
We need hard hats, yeah.
Where's my
I
heart?
have a hard hat. Where's my hat?
All right.
Or something
Um,
gardening.
All right, Elizabeth, you're up.
I've got
Any
a
public
hat.
comment?
My name on it too, see? I'm gonna lend it to you.
Very nice, Mario.
Uh, FYI, I did send a letter to Mr. Alvidi with the Department of Transportation, like,
Yeah.
hello, something, anything. And I've not heard back from him. So I don't know that, you know, our requests and our concerns are necessarily their concerns, but I haven't seen anything up there. Haven't seen anybody doing any painting, anything. So
I think Tower Hill Road is going to be officially done tomorrow. So maybe it's moving on from hopefully one project to the next.
Well,
They did say
have
they'd
done
do
a-
it.
I'm sorry, they have done a little bit there. It looks like they've prepared the 3 crosswalks. Now there's a new crosswalk to the church parking lot. And it looks like they've prepared that for striping, painting, you know, the visibility. Because I was up there on Saturday and walked over and Elizabeth, you could probably, you're our spy in Kingston. You can tell us more what's going on.
Yes, Tim does get updates from me on what I see going on.
So they are at the very least going to paint the stripes. It's pretty clear that's going to happen. And it's also clear that they've created a new crosswalk. So there will be a crosswalk on the one side of Upper College Road and also on the other side, both crossing 138. And it looks to me, my guess is that the reason for that new second crosswalk is that they'll put a don't cross sign on the telephone pole or utility pole right at the base of the driveway of the church.
I have beautiful
Great.
pictures from 1976 of a crosswalk going across that street.
A lot more traffic now.
Mm.
A lot more.
See,
Although
so Hillary,
less
your
now
letter
with
helped.
virus.
I don't know. He's probably like, oh my God, get these people off my back. Do something. I want to, speaking of all of that, I'd like to have a minute of your time after this meeting because I want to bring you up to date on chickens.
That's an inside joke.
Well, you know, I'm not laughing now. We have a chicken problem.
Oh,
I am not, if I had known at that meeting what I've been going through now, I would have been up at the podium.
really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I want an ordinance and I want it, but anyway, okay. Our next meeting is November 10th. And if there's nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I have a question for Laurel. Sorry, everyone. This came up during the town council meeting in which I was interviewed, but there was a question from I think Abel Collins about the use of the sign. the Peacedale sign. And I was curious what kind of rules there were around that regarding usage and whether the town would even be, eligible to use it for something other than library purposes.
That's a good question. And actually once I was at that interview and I really like what you said. And once I was out of my mouth when I said, well, we could advertise for a vacancy on our sign, I kind of wanted to take it back. It was just kind of pitching in town-wise. We have no policy in place. I usually just put up whatever current service or program we have. I have not put up the vacancy. Town clerks hasn't followed through, or nor have I been asked. So
Wait a minute, Laurel, they want to put up other vacancies on other committees?
no, what happened was,
To me.
and this I'll own this. They were talking about how many candidates we had for the library trustees, and Mike, jump in if I'm getting it wrong. And I said, oh, that really, we got a great response from the sign outside.
Right.
And then I graciously, wrongly probably, offered, if you needed to post, we could certainly post a sign for, a week or so, like zoning board.
In your defense, Laurel, Abel asked you that.
You
and
put me on the spot, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to. You
You're not going to
look
say
at it,
no
but-
to the president of the city council.
Yeah, it was-
For the appropriate price, anything is
All right.
possible.
Right. I don't
There
know.
you
I
go.
think it's more important to promote the programs,
I
instead of,
agree.
there's
I agree.
always vacancies on those committees, always.
Right,
So,
but it is a team effort overall, I think, but
Well, maybe there's a way to please everyone. Like you have some sort of a fair at the library about the vacancies, and
How
you
about if
you post it.
yeah.
I mean, the town put the sign up, right? They're the ones who fund the budget. Why don't they have their own sign in front of their own building? How hard is that?
Oh, that's a
I think you meant to
Good
say
question.
their own damn sign in front of their own damn building.
That's a
Laurel, I have driven by and seen Laurel putting the letters up there. You do it, Laurel. I've seen you because I live right down the street. How about we say to the town, let's have a high-tech one that you can sit at a computer in the office and change it.
I think that would
I know, they're
violate
never gonna do it.
China.
They're not gonna do it.
neon sign ordinance.
Yeah, it would. As a former member of the zoning
Oh,
board review, I
okay.
can
I
tell
can't
you have
work
problems
with
with
that,
that.
Big flashing sign, so, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
All right.
trying to be a team player.
I like the idea of the fair, though. That's kind of a neat idea that Mike had, because there's so many positions available and people don't know what they are or what the roles are to do.
Right.
I mean,
And
I'll be
people
honest,
have
I
fun.
applied for this library position and I was like, you know what? I just really love the library and I bring my kids there all the time and I have time for it. And I mean, I had been living here for like 3 years in South Kingstown. So I don't know. People want to get involved and but they don't even know about the things that are available. So I don't know if COVID is the best time to open this all up to a fair, but
No, but I agree. Like,
Fair.
it's
well,
an interesting idea, Mike. I like that
Unless
idea.
you have just 15 people.
Right. 15 people.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn for this evening?
I'll make such a motion.
Anyone second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice to
you.
meet you, Mike.
first
Thanks.
weekend
Have a
of
good night.
Meet you, Mike.
Seriously, Tim,
everybody.
one second. I
Bye.
want to,
Bye.
I want you for 1 second, Tim.
Yes.
If-
I
if
gotta
we-
stop
Can we be
recording.
on there without getting off with everybody, without you closing us down?